Hello there, and welcome to this short video just explaining the differences between the BRC courses for risk management tools. Now, a lot of people say to us, what is harm? Well, that stands for hazard and risk management, and it is done in order to prevent harm. But the BRC offers three courses: the HACCP, HARA, and HARPC course. And if you're confused what the difference is between those three methodologies, that's what this video is for. All right, let's take a look together. So the first one we'll chat about is HACCP. Here we have HACCP, and it is the most commonly used in the food industry. That is because it was written by Codex Alimentarius, who wrote the code of practice for how to conduct a risk assessment to manage food safety. So it's the food industry that uses HACCP. However, the whole world pretty much looked at the methodology and thought that's such a great idea that it even became part of legislation in many countries around the world to have to do a risk assessment like this to manage food safety. But other industries adopted the methodology as well. So they are also following the Codex code of practice for how to do this risk assessment. So you'll see on this slide here, we're saying primarily it's the food industry that uses HACCP, and that's true. But as I say, other industries use it as well, and they might even call their risk assessments HACCP. Let's move on though, because you will see here that we also have HARA, another methodology, which is exactly the same content in terms of following the Codex steps on how to do the hazard analysis, but they just call it a different name. So they're calling it HARA, Hazard Analysis Risk Assessment. So we talk about this also in the course that we deliver, and this is often used in packaging manufacturers. Agents and brokers might use this, but even those industries might follow the methodology of HACCP and call their risk assessment HACCP. So the name is not important. All right, that's the message that we're sharing here. It's the content and the methodology that we cover in detail on our courses. All right, so that is HACCP and HARA for you. The next one we need to talk about, which we also cover in our training, is HARPC. Now, HARPC is also, you'll see in the slide there, it is still a hazard analysis. It is still a risk assessment that we are conducting, but it originates from FSMA, or the Food Safety Modernization Act, which is legislation in the USA. And the USA talk about food manufacturers. So we're back to food now, the food industry. Food manufacturers need to ensure food safety, all right? And the way they do that is a combination of GMP, so good manufacturing practices, and these risk-based preventive controls. So that's called the preventive controls rule. And between the CGMPs, which we call prerequisite programs under HACCP and HARA, and so between the GMPs and the preventive controls, which we call CCPs, or critical control measures, depends which BRC standard you work into. We call them those. You can see that essentially this is also simply a risk assessment methodology. And there is wonderful correlation between the FSMA requirements and the traditional way of doing HACCP or HARA. So we cover this in our courses, and there you have it. If you are making product and you're exporting to the USA, you might be more interested in the HARPC side of things. If you are in the UK or another part of the world, simply following the Codex requirements, or if you are working to any of the BRC standards, then essentially this HARM course, which covers all three methodologies, HACCP, HARA, or HARPC, and HARPC, we cover all of those in our HARM course, and we're using the BRC course materials. This is a BRC course. You will get a BRC qualification for whichever course you chose to complete, whether it was HACCP, HARA, or HARPC. And there's a lot of correlation, as I say, and we go through all of that on our course. So hopefully that helps you to just know the difference between those three courses. All right then, bye for now.